This is Peggy and Childers. That's the name I have to use. I was kidnapped and brought to Moulton, Alabama in 41, given the name of a twin, Peggy Dempsey. I married Childers. Both twins were dead, and when I got the birth certificates later in life, some years back, the birth dates were even marked through, which is illegal. So everything about this has been breaking the law. It's because of who I am and who kidnapped me. I wrote a book in 75 till April the 1st of 80 when I was filled with antifreeze. Now, the reason for this one, it'll probably be the last one I do. I've done a whole bunch of YouTubes because a friend, I hope he is, bought me the Android so I could upload it because law enforcement is involved in all this and I can't go to them. They always have been, I understand now. I even worked for the district attorney who himself was good, Fred Simpson. After the antifreeze was put in me in 80 and I should have died, it was a horrible, you don't recover from something like that. And trying to be quiet and pretend that your children you don't know what's going on with them. My apartment was taken in Atlanta illegally by an ex-husband. So an antifreeze put in me, and I passed a background check with Sheriff Patterson and went to work for Fred Simpson, Madison County DA, Huntsville, Alabama. So now I want to move on to this. Larry Flint was shot when I was doing the book, March the 6th of 78. Later, when a doctor I wrote about, Larry McDonald, urologist, U.S. Congressman, the plane went down August 31st of 83. Mr. Flint flew me out there, and I became a candidate. I was out there twice. He says here I know who's responsible for his shooting. I was writing about mind control, and it's called MD a license to kill. Of course, as far as I know, all copies have been destroyed, illegally taken out of my safety deposit box, never published. It was modifying behavior and programming people to kill. Commit suicide is murder by mind control. Call it suicide. So nowadays you can Google. But these murders were done in patterns, and here's where I'm not going to try to explain everything because you can't on these 10-minute videos. One of the first times, not the first time, that I knew people were being killed, and I didn't know the mechanism used until I worked for doctors and was doing the book in 76, and one of the doctors I worked for was cardiovascular, and he actually put a chip into a heart bypass, or I've forgotten what he did to it now. It's been so long. But anyway, I was shown by I even went to work for the company that he did this to the man. I've forgotten his name. He was chairman of Dixon Tomato, which sounds silly, unimportant, but it's a produce company that was very lucrative, at least back then. So I was shown where actually explain how they showed me the doctor I work for, and I'm doing the book. And you can teach people the Morse code, and they don't know they're getting it. They do it at a low level, like a dog can hear a whistle, and you can't sound. And you're a walking puppet. Anyway, one of the murders that I knew something was all wrong with it. We bought a house from, I took my kids to a barber, and his name was Larry Childers. Now, the name I go by, I married a Childers, and I've always pronounced it Childers. Well, and the Larry comes into play, and later Larry Flint and Larry McDonald, Lawrence. And I was taken to Lawrence County, Alabama, and the people there had, if that was my identity, it would have been an aunt. But she had twins, and she had her son was named Larry. So anyway, I hope I'm not confusing things. Larry Childers, the barber, sold us his house in Huntsville, and not long later, they said he committed suicide. He put his car in a garage and turned on the motor, and he was killed. Died, and they said it was suicide. But some of his friends knew that wasn't true, and I think they may have even knew the mechanism, which is mind control. It's hard to prove. And here is why I'm putting the Larry Flint. I showed the endorsement where he flew me out and said I knew who was responsible. Remember that Woody Harrelson played the role of Larry Flint in the movie. And also, the day of opening was on my birthday, or the birthday I have to use, January the 7th. It opened one of the first shown here in Roanoke, and I was up at Appalachian Trail, Full Heart Knob, freezing to death, and somebody come up there and brought me down. I didn't get to see the movie at that time, but I'm trying to show you patterns that can prove, and this was deliberately done, prove this, but I don't think I'm going to live right at the moment. Believe me, they've gone after me hook, line, and sinker, and nobody's going to do a damn thing to stop it. This is where the forestry has helped, agriculture has helped in keeping me homeless. This is deliberate, meant to be. I came here in Roanoke in 86, and then you had the Virginia Tech shootings, which is part of this. The 33 killed there in, I believe, '07, April? Anyway, Eric came out, and he arrested me on certain days, and I actually went to jail, was charged. And it's all, they should be the ones locked up, not me. And he did it on Larry Flint the day he was shot, 3/6, and of course this is '04, and Mr. Flint was shot in '78. Excuse me, I'm in pretty bad shape after Eric and them got the ranger called in the cop from Fincastle, and that's how they worked me over, okay? But this is the violations that they come and give me. And they're deliberately, I'm kept homeless, and they're part of it. Now then, I want to go ahead, because yesterday was a living hell, and I don't know that I'm going to come out of this alive, or I'm going to go back to July. It was a couple of days after my son's birthday, which is the 18th. And this is in 2010. I went out to North Creek Campground trying to get some fresh air and live. I got out there, and Eric, Johnny on the spot, he's up there, you're living out here. Well, this is North Creek where people come back and the rules are all broken. They burn formaldehyde, which is highly illegal. Yesterday, when Eric was harassing me and threatening to arrest me, I told him about the formaldehyde, which I knew he knew about, that was being burned at North Creek by the host. And he said he didn't care. He wasn't going to get into it and stop it. I said, but you're law enforcement. So anyway, I could go on about that. I've tried to tell it. But I'm going to go, and I think I'm trying to not lose my train of thought. I'm in such bad shape today. Back then he mentioned, and these are cryptic, and you can, I know what they mean, but if you brought it into court, it's such a mess that he could alibi out of it. And he's law enforcement, and I've been made to look like this bag lady running around, nutcase. So anyway, he told me standing there, he mentioned Ferguson, and that's Maurice Ferguson. And Maurice was someone who, when I moved here, he was with Ram House, Roanoke Area Ministries, and he was with the homeless. And he was just working there as just a person there. And I liked Maurice. He and Eric Smith, the ranger who's helped do all this, are very close friends. Yesterday when Eric come out and threatened me and had a Fincastle cop there, and in essence I left and I lost the last penny I had. I said, why did you call the policeman here? I'm leaving. And the cab had been called. He called it on his phone. And the cop stood there, and I got the gist of it. They left me out of it. They're talking. He said, well, we'll hire you, Eric, when you retire pretty soon. So anyway, they're friends. Eric said, well, he's a friend of mine. So Eric threatened me way back then, but this is part of a whole organization that's doing this conspiracy. And I thought then, why is he bringing up Maurice Ferguson? Well, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that mind control is widespread. Edward Snowden just touched the tip of